It's 25 minutes past 9 and 12 degrees outside. How would you go if someone said to you, let's go for a walk 1,900 kilometres? Well, my next guest is going to do that in a couple of weeks' time. Tristan O'Brien, good morning.
Good morning, Tommy. Thanks for having me.
That's okay. I'm already exhausted. You're taking on a challenge. You're starting on the 18th of September, which is
just coming up Monday.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you're going to walk 1,900 kilometres. And the reason you're walking is simply for making people aware, I guess.
Right.
That there is species in Australia.
Absolutely.
And that are endangered.
Some of my most iconic species as well. Things like the koala, the Tasmanian tiger, wedge-tailed eagle. Some of our most iconic species we think of as truly Australian are actually threatened in different parts of the country. So it's certainly an issue that I think we should be talking about a bit more.
Hence the reason why you're here now, and hence the reason why you want people to be aware that, what you're taking on is a mammoth challenge, but also so is the point, isn't it? That it's a mammoth challenge for Australians to be aware that, hey, we've got these wonderful species out there, and that we think that, they're okay, but they're not.
Absolutely, and I think we're in a bit of a unique position here in Australia because we have such a large population living in cities. In the rest of the world, about 54% of the population are living in urban environments, but in Australia that's more like 89%. And so we don't really get to see the effects of our actions on what's happening out there in the environment. Mm-hmm. So that's why I'm doing this walk. I'm walking 1 kilometre for each species in Australia that's listed as threatened. Wow. Like you said, over 1,900 of them, and it's for raising awareness.
Let's get up right at the beginning. Let's let people know where they can follow you and trace you and support you. Now, the website is simply 1900footprints.com. That's 1900footprints.com.
That's right, yeah. And there's also a Facebook page, facebook.com/1900footprints, or if people are Instagram savvy, then at 1900footprints as well. So hopefully the trip will be very visual in the communication, and we'll get some
good photos. And who knows, you might even see some wedge-tailed eagles on the side of the road, and you say, "Hey, I'm walking for you."
Absolutely, exactly right.
As long as they don't, think of you as dinner. But the money that you're going to raise is going to be used for bioresearch.
Right. So I'm fundraising for 2 different organisations. The first one is called BioR. It's a habitat restoration organisation.
Okay.
So they are quite unique in that they actually target declining species in Australia. And I suppose there are 3 facets to this organisation, which is based in South Australia. They are informed by research, so using the latest scientific research to make sure that their restoration activities are up to date and effective. And they're reconstructing functional habitat, which is something that not many restoration organisations often are able to do. And there's a bit of an issue because a lot of people are talking about carbon footprints these days, and so there are a lot of trees going into the ground, but they don't necessarily function as habitat, which is what some people intend them to be.
That's right.
And then the third facet of BioR is that they're enlisting volunteers who want to help the environment, and they can reconnect by volunteering at planting events, but also this idea of donating $1 a day to offset their own ecological footprint. So rather than talking about carbon footprints, which of course just takes into account carbon emissions, ecological footprints include things like resource use, the effects of waste, land use for growing food, mining, that sort of thing. Everything that basically comes together to support our way of life, and they're able to offset those things with their ecological footprint by donating to BioR.
Congratulations. This is terrific. I mean, it's a great challenge, and obviously the rewards for our society, for Australia, for the world, if people understand and contribute, and not only contribute dollars, that's important, it will be important, but if they learn something out of it too.
Absolutely.
You know, and yeah, sure, look, you know, Coast FM listeners are very generous. They also absorb information very much, and if they can pass that information on through their families, and yeah, let's educate people all around us, including educating, and obviously it's important to educate the young people as well, because then they grow up appreciating what we do have, and appreciating also the way that we should be behaving in the society, looking after the ecology.
Absolutely, and I'm completely in agreement with that, Tommy. I think a big part of the campaign is trying to understand that we perhaps could be living in a different way, a more connected way to the natural environment around us. So, you know, these modern urban environments, cities in which we live, have only really been around for 150 to 200 years with the rise of modern London. Compared that to the last 1 to 2 million years of our evolution living off the land, it's really a big social experiment in a way.
Absolutely.
But it's a really great opportunity to think about how we're bringing up our children, just like you said, what sort of environment we want to bring them up in.
I haven't done the big lap yet, you know, travelling around the countryside, and I'm so looking forward to meeting up with, you know, some of the Aboriginal tribal people that seem to know things that we don't.
Absolutely.
That we are so naive, and right now I saw on the weekend that they're going back to deliberately doing more burn-offs, because even though that's bad, you're burning you can't, but it's the best thing for the environment.
Absolutely.
And we don't know these things, and we balk at that and think, oh no, but so we're learning every day, and you're helping us learn. Now we're going to talk to you about, in a moment, we want to talk to you about how are you going to do this. We're talking to Tristan O'Brien, who on Monday takes off 1 kilometre per species that is threatened. So we'll be back with Tristan right after this one. This is the Black Sorrows cracking up on Adelaide's Coast FM. It's 28 minutes before 10. Joe Camilleri, Black Sorrows, cracking up, and this guy in front of me right now, Tristan O'Brien, is not cracked up, folks. He's got his plan right in front of him, walking from Adelaide to and around Tasmania. It's a terrific challenge. It must be. You've obviously planned this, and you know physically what's going to happen to you.
Right, so the first leg should be, well, comparatively a bit easier than the second leg. Heading to Melbourne from Adelaide is going to be almost flat compared to, you know, heading up and down the hills in Tasmania. But you're right, I've got the route planned out. The authorities have been contacted. They'll know where I am most of the time. And I've got, you know, safety communications and that sort of thing as well.
Have you got who you're travelling with?
Largely be self-supported, so I'll be pushing a second-hand pram, which I've converted into a waterproof box with a solar panel that'll be able to store all of the things that I need, and obviously provide the energy for different devices that I'll use to stay in contact with the outside world. But for various legs, I'll be joined by other people. So I'm incorporating the Great Ocean Walk from the 12 Apostles to Apollo Bay, and a few friends and some young people from an outdoor education centre will be joining me for that 106 kilometre section.
That'd be great.
And then in Tasmania, I'll be doing the overland track with a few friends as well. And if anybody else felt like escaping the outside world for a few days, then they'd be more than welcome to join me.
Once again, folks, if you'd like to be aware of what Tristan is doing, head on over to 1900, that's numbers 1900footprints.com, and also look for it on Facebook as well, and follow him. I'm sure the photographs will come back, because I know you've got a good camera. You'll be taking some photographs along the way and posting them, I guess.
That's the idea.
And of course, that ocean road, that'll be fantastic. Certainly, saves beating the same path as a lot of the trucks do on the main road.
Absolutely, yeah. I think I'll be looking forward to those sections because the majority of the time I will be on the side of the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you get to Tasmania, now that's hilly. There's a lot of mountains and the weather is different. So obviously you're prepared. You've got all the lightweight, warm clothes that you can easily put into your second-hand pram. Doesn't sound weird. Oh, I've got my pram here.
Yeah, well,
like my pram, sir.
Believe it or not, it's actually sort of a method which is quite common for people doing long-distance walks in Australia. And I've kind of looked at what other people have previously done and modified for what I need to do, basically.
You can pull it as well as push it?
That's the idea, yeah. We're still in the final stages of construction, but it'll be both pushable and pullable, absolutely.
Yeah, sure.
Yep.
So, folks, if you're travelling along the road, if you're heading to Tasmania in the next, when do you hope to get to Tasmania?
It should be early to mid-November.
Okay.
So I'll be tracking along the coast down past the Coorong to begin with, down across the Great Ocean Walk, as I mentioned, up to Melbourne, and then catching a ferry across to Tasmania.
So you'll walk across the water on the ferry?
Some people have suggested I should walk the length of the ferry up and back as it's travelling across Bass Strait.
You might be taking it easy then.
Right, yes. I think I'll be horizontal in a bed by then.
Are you getting enough publicity? Are you getting enough awareness? I mean, I'm really happy that you're here at Coast FM, and we have a great audience and a great listenership, and a lot of our audiences do use internet, and we can go on Facebook and follow you, but I guess you need more.
I mean, we can always do more, and that's really the big idea, is that conservation in general needs a bit more publicity in Australia. So I think if people were to go and visit the website 1900footprints.com and have a quick read about why this sort of cause is important, then it'll really go a long way towards contributing to that general understanding and need to protect threatened species in this country.
So at the end of that journey, you'll be able to, I guess, is this part of a thesis? Is this part of a report that you'll be doing and presenting it to the world to show, well, hey, you know, I've done this and I've done it so passionately that we all should do something for the environment. Not necessarily walk 1,900 kilometres, but you know, here's one person flogging their guts out, going right across the countryside. People should be looking and saying, we can do something.
It really is an awareness-raising exercise. So along the journey, I'll be doing as many talks as I can, really, with school groups and community groups about the issues raised by 1900 Footprints. At the moment, I don't really have anything large-scale planned for after the walk, but I would like to continue those sorts of talks in the future. Well,
I'd like you to come back to Coast FM and talk to us after that time and let us know how you got on. I'm sure it would be a very interesting. Well, we probably wouldn't have enough time to talk about all the different things, but I'm hoping that you publish as much as you can, and we can follow you, and we'll be certainly following you here at Coast FM as well. Tristan O'Brien, I commend you for what you're doing, walking 1,900 kilometres to raise awareness that there are more than 1,900 species in Australia that are threatened.
Absolutely. It's been great to be on the show. Thank you very much for having me, Tommy. And don't forget to visit 1900footprints.com or bior.org.au.
Fantastic. Tristan O'Brien, thank you very much. Adelaide's Coast FM, it's 18 before 10. Here's Jefferson John. He'll be doing some flying. He might even fly over Tristan. Fantastic.
Great. That was really good. Thanks, Tommy.
Hey, you're welcome. That's good.